For the latest top tips, reviews and advice, please subscribe below.
Hello and welcome to Attwoolls Outdoors with me, Mike. Today I'm giving you a bit of a review video on a brand new awning from Dometic. So with me here today, I've got the Dometic Stuga Rest awning. So the Stuga is basically, obviously quirky little name, but it's designed to be a seasonal poled awning that you can use for your caravan. So I've currently pitched on the caravan here, really quite nice. So a bit different kind of actually Dometic's range. They've never done what they classify as a full-on seasonal, residential, whatever you want to call it, kind of awning where you can literally put it up consistently for a period of time. So they spent a lot of time in terms of engineering this product and basically taking its time to bring it to market. So what they really wanted, because in their collection they do the option of some air awnings, obviously you have full awnings, which again for longer periods of stay, but this is kind of their out and out seasonal awning that they sort of say. What we've got really is a great sort of steel frame, really nice and strong. It's a good sort of diameter, runs around about sort of 28 mil there or thereabouts. But the main thing that kind of really that's a bit different with this is the fabric that kind of they have used. So this is basically what Dometic uses, basically a really clever, it's basically like a polypropylene material. So it's actually something that's taken out of kind of the medical industry. And the main reason they've used something like that and developed this material is because it's easy to clean, it's very UV resistant, and it's great with sort of temperatures as well. And what you find is almost like a rough and smooth size to it as well. So that has its pros and cons. We'll come to that a little bit later on in the video itself. Now, it's a full awning with a real size range, so anything from size up to 19 down to 9, so even the kind of smaller caravans you can kind of fit it. Again, it can be used, as I sort of mentioned, seasonally, but it's a little bit different in terms of its design as well, because one thing you may have noticed is we've got a centralized door. Now this is really trying to create a home-like sort of feel to it, and it's a little bit different in terms of the orientation, because it means that you would probably have a little bit more of a dead space, for example, on one side or the other, and that's going to be your main entrance. Admittedly, you haven't got to use that as your main kind of entrance into the actual part itself. You can use either the side doors, but really they wanted to kind of create something a bit different out there on the market, and no one really has a proper door on the front of a kind of a caravan full awning from that point of view. So again, opens up really nice and easily, opens from left to right, and then you've got a ventilation point to look at the top. Again, little brow pole to give a sort of bit of shelter. There is a solid steel pole that goes at the front section again, so it gives it, again, a real nice strong structural frame. One thing they've done with the framework as well is a little bit different. They've kind of created this embedded kind of color coordination to it. So every kind of point has a color. So you have like yellow, green, blue, and red, so that way when you go and pole to pole, it makes it easier to set up. We have done a separate sort of pitching video which kind of cuts through the whole process of it in sort of each section, so by all means have a little look at that as well. Again, one thing you can look to do as well to make that pitching process a little bit easier, which we did use for that video, was kind of the easy pitch situation. So what it is an inflatable tube that actually zips onto the canopy itself. So what you do is you basically inflate that up, that then rises it up in the air, so when you're sort of feeding the poles directly through, it just makes that a little bit easier. You're not kind of having to hold the fabric and do that at the same time. I mean, I'm a bit on the fence really on how well it works, I'm being perfectly honest with you. I think it was definitely, there's some aspects I thought, yes, that was easier to do, but others I thought feels like I'm doing it twice. So I'm a little bit on the fence on that in particular, but I get the principle that actually if you're getting it up out of the way, then I totally get that from that point of view as well. So yeah, personal preference. I think if you are struggling in terms of holding up and putting it, and bear in mind this is seasonal awnings, you only put up once, it doesn't really matter in my head how long it takes you to pitch it. But I thought I'd give it a try. Something a bit different, again, something that's unique to this kind of model as well. As you can see, we've got basically external blinds the whole way around the actual awning itself, so you can get obviously a choice of having the beautiful kind of crystal clear windows to get light into it itself. Alternatively, what you can look to do, of course, is then zip down the curtains. So what I've done is give you a bit of a situation of, we've got the sort of full window, we've gone halfway with it, or they've gone fully down. So again, you can just zip it up and down as it please. They can roll up and sit in a nice little neat fold located on the front there as well. Storm straps, again, you can basically, I would highly recommend, clip into the front, come off the front section as well. I would also have a look at buying some additional ones basically go around the center points. Again, more belts and braces that you can do, the better it will be. I'm not the biggest fan personally of sort of straps to go over the top and weigh it down, just because what you find is you have a little sort of wear on the fabric as it kind of vibrates. So on that point of view, I prefer to have something a bit less. Again, nice little things to mention as well as when you're pitching it, all the panels can be removable to make it feeding into the rail a little bit easier as well. Now, on the side panels, we can see here, you've again got crystal clear windows as well, and then we've got a door. So this can be the side door. The side panels are interchangeable, so rather than having what potentially could be your main door at the back of kind of towards the caravan, you can then change it over to have it at the front. The side window here also has a mesh panel built into it, so you can roll back the actual PVC window, roll that back completely, toggle it back like we have the external blind, and then you've got a big nice mesh panel. And again, that's actually the thickness of that mesh is really quite impressive as well. We've still got a ventilation point located here as well to help circulation of air, and because it goes into the rail the whole way around, it seals really nicely against the caravan. They tried to create a easy pitch system where you've got visibility of points, so you can see these orange points. It's basically a signal that's the first 2 points you peg against the caravan or alongside it, and you've got again 2 at the front here to get it really quite, you know, nice and straight. And depending on, I've got an older style caravan, so I've got a bit more of a low part in the bottom. You've got a bit more manipulation in that with the excess fabric kind of working around down the side. Along the whole bottom, we've also got the pegging ladder as well, so we can get a bit more adjustability in the height. One thing that's also worth mentioning is actually the framework itself sits on the mud wall skirt, and there's little kind of holes, so the foot goes into that point to kind of try and engage the base of the awning, and by tensioning up and going from there, and then you've got like a typical kind of clamp. Again, just helps give a nice sort of tension into it. Same with the front pole principle, you can just pull it out, shut that closed, just to kind of keep it neat and tidy. What we'll do actually is we'll go for the front door. You have got a secondary zip on the front door as well, so if you wanted like a little bit of ventilation at the top, you can also utilise that if you wanted to. Or like I said, alternatively, we'll naturally kind of create that home away from home. So we come into the central point, and we can roll that back. Kind of keeping it all at bay. Now, the fabric really does feel quite robust, and I sort of mentioned, like I said, it was taken from the medical industry. The reason it's kind of important is actually it's very UV, it's got a good sort of UV resilience, so it doesn't break down with the actual sunlight as much. And because essentially it's dope dyed, you don't lose the colour, it doesn't really fade, so that's one thing that's important. Because you've got kind of like this rough and smooth side to it, what you find is actually water can actually bead off. So what they've done is with this, the kind of their rest fabric, it says this really nice thick polypropylene material, runs about 290 grams, there or thereabouts. But what they've done is they've used it and almost inverted it. So rather than, so if we say we've got a rough side and smooth side on one, what they've done is they've rotated it around. So the sides, you've got the kind of the rough side on the panel facing out, smooth on the inside. So again, it's easy to clean from that point of view. And then the opposite with the top. So that way, any sort of muck or anything like that, for example, can be easily cleaned off the actual top of the roof, and the sort of the fibres on kind of the, we'll call it rougher side of things. If there's any kind of moisture in there, it kind of just it seems to stop it from actually sticking to it as well. And so you don't, even though you will get kind of condensation in there, you don't tend to see it as much, which is kind of an odd thing to kind of suggest, really. But it's something we've done quite extensive tests on that. It's quite impressive that they've managed to not necessarily get that itself. But what we'll do actually, let's move the camera inside and go for a few more features that the Stuga has to offer. So now we're inside the Stuga, you can probably get a bit more understanding for the awning itself. Now, it's a 2.5 metre deep awning, so it's a traditional kind of sort of depth, which is perfect kind of most kind of seasonal pitches. And like I said, because you've got those sort of 2 windows at the front section, or 4 windows, depending on the span you're going for, and then that centralised door, like I said, it creates a bit more of a different orientation around the actual site itself. So one thing, like I said, because this is going to be a natural kind of walkway, you don't have to use it like I said, but then you would always have like a table and chairs kind of situated here and kind of go into it. Naturally, I see that being a little bit of an issue when you go for the smaller size, because depending, obviously it narrows down the sort of part either side if you want to, or you have it sort of one side. So that's one thing to bear in mind. But like I said, you don't have to use that centralised door, but again, this gives it something a little bit quirky and different. Like I said, the stainless steel sort of frame we've got around there, really nice and solid. There are some hinge points which fix in certain points again to make it easy to put up and put down. Colour coordination as well on there. Like I said, because it locks to, it basically goes through the reinforced located eyelet at the bottom. It's designed that obviously you've got fixation point into the awning at the base and up through the top as well, and it expands with a little hook on it. So again, the actual framework, you know, very easy to clean. very easy to maintain and still quite a good sort of substance and size. And also because button clips into it, again, it's quite nice and robust. And it just goes back to awning bracket pads, which are located on the roof section itself here. We've got a really nice hard wearing PVC skirt, so it's easy to clean again on the bottom as well. And you can basically create an overlap with the carpet. There are a few optional extras to consider as well, things like the carpet or optional mesh panels, or there's also a veranda pole. So what you can actually do is the front section can kind of veranda down, and you've got these little lugs located on the side just to take that. Additional support bars are basically supplied when and as needed as well, and same with the roof section as well. So that kind of goes and gives you a bit more roof, just to get that roof looking really quite nice and taut. There's the additional ventilation point we've got located on the side. There's also little Velcro tabs throughout the awning here for additional lighting you can put onto it. Bear in mind you're clipping to the awning frame itself, or if you want to lug it kind of nice and neatly into that point there as well. There's actually on the front panel, what you can also see, it's got the same kind of Velcro points. So not only can you have the kind of lights internally here, but also externally to give a bit more light onto the front section. There's also an extra canopy you can buy for the Stuga as well, just to give a bit more extra space with a bit more shelter, as well as an annex, which again is designed in a rest material to give yourself the option of sleeping people, you know, inside the awning and without taking up your main kind of living space itself. We've got a mesh, like I say, window on either side. Like I said, by just rotating the orientation, that works really well. Helps a bit of airflow. And again, same with the mesh door on this side here. Actually, when you roll the door back, so you can actually have this both mesh panels on both sides of the awning itself here. We've got kind of traditional caravan curtains, nice sort of soft fabric, a little button clip to kind of get it where you need to, but you can bring that across, get your coverage, and you've got every single window works with its own curtain set. And the other thing you can do is, because the curtains are actually on the panel, you can leave them on place if you wanted to, or you can remove them. They actually got a bit more of a robust clip as well to take it on and off, rather than that horrible kind of plastic slidey thing. It's almost like what we call yeah, it's almost like a little hinge, well, not a hinge, but like a hook onto a little channel, so that works really quite nice and neatly as well. Other things to mention, we've got a little hanger point here for, we can actually run a pole front to rear, so we can have a little storage pole for sort of hanging up clothes or drying towels, that sort of stuff. So that works really well. A draft skirt does come included as standard as well, but the wheel arches are normally an extra, optional extra as well. But let's pick the camera up actually and get some of up close and personal to some of these features that I've been mentioning so far. So again, we've got the apex vents, which you can see located here, so that's going to help airflow in. You can see with this older style caravan how you got a bit more of excess fabric just to kind of get it looking really quite nice and sharp, and how that roof looks really quite brilliant. This is the extra zip you've got located on the front of the awning as well, so this is designed to be to the case of you can add the easy puller, or you have the option again of adding the general canopy that can go onto the front of it as well. Storm straps are all really nice and reinforced and goes back into the seam. And then we've got a little anchoring point here, so that's for an additional windbreak you can look to add onto it if you wanted to add that as well. Again, we've got a high visibility points located at the bottom. The external blinds as we go here, and then we've got little Velcro tabs I was on about for lighting. So those are situated on kind of the front section as well. So you can pretty much pick and choose where you go. Ventilation point located at the top. And we've got the external blinds again, which are going to roll up to get yourself a nice end finished. As we come inside, again, got the tabs located there as well. Worth mentioning the curtains. So again, really nice and easy, little runners. So again, it makes life a little bit simpler when you want to sort of put them on and off. That's the point there for actually a hanging rails that can go sort of front to back of the caravan, like so. Nice, you get the bracket pads coming standard included with it, and also there's two different size beadings. So if you've got a thicker rail on your caravan, you can utilise that. And then we've got the little accessory track, which obviously takes on the bracket pads, but it does mean you can also have like hanging organisers come directly down. But that's a little lug point located there for actually that front to rear pole. As we kind of look on to the side panel, just focusing better. Like I said, you can got a door section on one side, window on the other, but by rotating that panel with the other side, then the door becomes on this side over here versus that. Now, again, you've got your fire restriction instructions in there as well, but again, a nice sort of PVC mud skirt, really quite strong, and again, overlap, it's going to get the seal against the sort of towards the caravan to minimise that draft coming directly in itself. On the front section, we've got, you can probably get to the corner, it's probably easy to focus on it. This is the point for the veranda pole, so that basically goes into that section. There's a similar one on the other side. So what you can do is kind of fold that front panel kind of fully over. Like I get support bars come included just to brace the overall width of it, but I get enough poles that kind of go front to back of the caravan just to get that extra bit of roof. And even with an old caravan like I've got here, still great for getting the tension into that front section as well. But no, I think on the whole, I think it sits really well, looks really quite smart. I've just lit the panel out for the time being, but you can also use it almost as a sun canopy, or removing the centre panels and the front section. When you look at it at the front there, like I said, just to give you bear in mind, this is a size 16, so this is kind of on the upper levels of the actual awning itself. But I think it sits really well. Wasn't too much of a pain to put up once you know kind of what you're doing. The hardest part of anything is feeding it through the rail, I always find. But because you've got the sort of a natural to a higher point in the middle section there, water's designed sort of come sort of down from the front towards the back and then shed off towards the corners over this side over here. But for more information on kind of the Stuga in general, what you can always do is you can follow the link below this video. It'll take you straight through to our website, where we've got more information on things like overall individual sizes, the breakdown of the material, of how it actually works as well, which is always quite nice, and also the features listed, like the curtains, you know, the specification of the material, the weights, pack sizes, all that sort of thing we've got listed in that link below, as well as our pitching videos, which you can check out. But I think as an awning goes, sits really well, looks really quite smart. It's designed to be, you know, I think when you look at the price point as well, admittedly I'd probably say it's not on the cheapest side of the market, but the difference being it's got access to something a little bit different. It's got its own little quirks with, like I said, the easy pitch system with the inflatable tube, centralized door, materials a little bit different. So it's not quite up to the level in terms of price point as your Isabella awnings, sits beneath it. So again, they're really trying to sort of work their way into the market with something a little bit different. And you think actually it's not quite nice. It's quite nice to see something a bit fresher, and again designed that way. So it'd be interesting to see kind of how natural reaction is, but that's kind of the overall feature set of everything. For more information, check the link below. Of course, we'd love to hear from you guys what you think of it as well. But that's been our little video review on the brand new Dometic Stuga awning, from a range of sizes from sort of up to 9 till 19 really. But we look forward to seeing you again on our next Attwoolls Outdoors video review.